سلام به همگی. من علیرضا ریاضی هستم، رئیس هیئت مدیره IAS, Iranian American Society of New York. This is our 43rd annual general meeting and meeting of the members. And myself and Mrs. Danishvar, the chair of our education committee, we all wear a lot of hats, so we have multiple roles. I'd like to welcome everybody first and thank everyone for coming. I know Sunday afternoons are difficult, but pursuant to our bylaws, we are required to have these events on the second Sunday of every year. But I appreciate the people that have made it. I want to thank that table right there, which a lot of our students from Westchester are here. It's really nice to see you. Yes, round of applause. Thank you for coming. We appreciate you and your support. I also want to thank the entire board of directors. I'm going to name them individually. If you're here, please stand up. Mr. Saeed Amani, also Vice President, Mrs. Minu Farahani, also Chair of Membership Committee, so be careful, she may come to you for membership. She's required to sign up a number of members per year, so she's under very strict rules, be careful. Then I'm going to go to Mrs. Sholi Sharifi. She's also the director of our school and a board member. Mr. Surush Borugi, also our president. And Mrs. Mandana Hapani, who's also a board member, secretary, and she heads a few of the different committees that we have. I just want to also say that, without your support, it's very difficult, or our members' support, it's very difficult to run an organization like this. Just so everyone understands, we are a 501c3 organization that's nonprofit, non-religious, and non-political. So, we like everybody? Yes? Yeah. So everything here, we do it, and the main purpose of IAS is really for the Ferdowsi Farsi schools, which is a section of IAS. So what do? We teach everyone from the ages of 4 to unlimited. I think because once we added 4 years ago our adult Farsi school classes, it's open now to any age group. So we start them young, we educate them, and we make sure that we continue the culture. Now, what do we focus on? We focus on Iranian cultural events. Anywhere from Nowruz, Mehrigan, Yalda, and there's a few more, but I'm gonna leave it to some of the other members to speak about those if necessary. Our schools focus on that, but also our own events focus on that as well. So what that means is we really want your support and for you to join us at those cultural events as well. I'm going to start very quickly by reporting to everyone what we did in 2024 as is required by our bylaws. I'll try to make it as brief and quick as possible, and Mrs. Danishvar is here to help me because I need all the help that I can get. Right? So I'm going to start by telling you what a great year we had in 2024. In 2024, we actually had an incredible year where our membership increased by 50%, which is substantial. We haven't been at these numbers probably for the last 15 to 20 years. So we're seeing the excitement. We also have increased our finances by over 26%. So we brought Mrs. Kiana here today to help us with that. We'll talk about that later. But generally speaking, we had an exceptional year. We had a lot more membership, and we were successful in every event that we had. We were profitable in every event we had. And for the first year, in about 6-7 years, we were profitable with our Ferdowsi schools. So what that means is, COVID happened. What ended up happening is we continued to support our teachers and continued to pay them their salaries. And so we started going negative for several years until we came back out of that. And no matter what we make, we always give it to the schools. Even if there's one student in the class, we keep that class open. We don't do minimums because we want to make sure our main purpose of Farsi school or Persian classes are there for our kids. I think we prioritize our kids more than anything else. Now I'm going to go into certain events because I know Mrs. Danishvar is going to talk specifically about schools and the education committee. Last year's event, the 42nd annual general meeting, our guest speaker was Mr. Kiana Danial, who was a distinguished professor from Columbia and NYU. Subsequent to that, we actually had our Board of Elections last year, and we also had some similar meeting as this one today. The next event that's also coming up, the reason I have this in front of me is I'm talking about last year, but I also want to mention what's going on this year, so you could put it in your calendars. Last year we had Charsham Masudi, which was, again, I think nearly 200 families came, and that's a big family event, and it's wonderful because kids get to jump over the fire, the adults like to jump over the fire, and it kind of keeps the excitement and really the culture alive, right? I recommend you all come. This year, Charsham Masudi will be on Tuesday, March 18th. It's in Brookville, New York, so please join us for that. Last year's Nowruz Gala, we had Andy, who was there for the entertainment, but we also had made a significant amount of profit, which always goes to our schools, and it goes to our other cultural events that we need to keep. So we raised nearly $50,000 from that event. CEO of Invest was also a success because thanks to businesses like the Ravloff Persian Grill, they donate their food to us, so we're very, it's an exceptional gift because everything we raise from something like CEO of Invest, it goes to the kids and kids' activities. We raised a substantial amount then too. The following event was Mother's Day. The ladies always like to get together and have raffles. They do very well with these raffles. So they, on that one day with 70 wonderful ladies in northern Long Island, and I see my mother-in-law, she drives from New Jersey, so I have to give you some credit for that, thank you. But they raised almost $7,000, so just from a day event for a few hours. So they do exceptional things, the ladies that are part of this organization, and I commend them for that. Unfortunately, they don't allow men there. So it's an all-ladies event. But we are trying to, I know our 3 board members that are male are trying to change that in upcoming years, so we can be invited too, because we do miss out on the Mother's Day festivities. Mahanagan last year, we did wonderful, and it was held in the city at a location called Symphony Space, and again, we raised over $5,000. And Yalta was held at Leonard Palazzo, and we did an exceptional job of having nearly 200 of our members there, and we raised over $5,000. I'm gonna now pass it over to Mrs. Danishvar, so I'm gonna come back to talk to you about some of the things, but I'm going to let Mrs. Danishvar speak about the education and scholastic committees. Here goes Mrs. Danishvar.
Thank you, Mr. Hedayati, and welcome everyone. Pleasure to see everyone here. And I'll do a report about the education, and I start with the Scholastic Award program that this award was very successful in 2024. We were thrilled to honor Ms. Zara Rod as the recipient of the Prestige Award. She's currently attending Stony Brook School of Art and Science, and she was presented with the $1,000 award during the Nowruz Gala on Saturday, March 16, 2024. We thank you all to make this award possible and for continuing to support the future leaders of our community. The Education Committee also likes to report about the academic year of Long Island and Westchester Ferdowsi School. The school was very involved with different activities, educational and cultural activities. Their activities included Mahanagan celebration, Yalda, Nowruz, and obviously the last day of the school, where all the children and students receive certificate for their hard work and dedication. Beside the Westchester and Long Island, we do have adult virtual Zoom classes, and overall, the number of students in these 3 programs are over 100 students. So we are hoping that this number grows each year, and that will be possible, obviously, with support of members and our community in Long Island and Westchester. And we are hoping to see you more in this program and in the future programs that the IAS has planned for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Danial. So I do have to report on finances as well. Mr. Hurley is our treasurer. Hurley, Mr. Hurley,
Co-treasurer.
co-treasurer, but with Mrs. Nick, oh, sorry, I apologize. And just so everyone knows, we went from January 1st, 2024 of having $188,870.47 in multiple accounts. What we did is we have a school account, we have a Persian Community Center account that we've been raising funds, hopefully to get to that point at some point in the future. We have operating account, payroll account, and also a few CD accounts. And now, that was January 2024, and as of January 1st, 2025, we increased that amount to $238,673.47, which is an increase of $49,803, which is a 26.37% increase. If we can keep that up with your support, we really appreciate it. All this money is earmarked for specific purpose. For example, at our last event, which was Yalda, and the treasurer can fix my numbers, but it's around $2,380 was raised for an event that we're gonna do for our Westchester students, the Westchester parents that are here. So, and our Long Island students to take a trip to the Metropolitan Museum of Art in Manhattan. And we'd like to cover their trip, their busing, and their food, lunch, because these are children that are also paying a tuition and supporting us, and we want to give back. Don't forget, we're a nonprofit. We don't take people's money and put it aside. But just so it's clear, everyone is a volunteer except the teachers. Nobody gets paid for the work that we do. I haven't seen a check since I started 12 years ago. Mrs. Danishvar, I could assure you, hasn't seen. Mr. Mani hasn't seen. Mrs. Farahani hasn't seen. Mrs. Shodisharifi hasn't seen. And Mr. Urui and Mrs. Mandana Ahmani hasn't seen either. So we're all volunteers. So when we ask for money, it's very difficult, but we really appreciate your support. You know, we want you to know that it's going to a good cause. And in the years past, just so some of you are aware that don't know the organization as well, during COVID, we were giving out COVID financial assistance program to any person. We didn't even ask if it was Iranian, but even if you're married to a Persian person. And people reached out to us for financial support, and we keep their information confidential, and we supported them. So that's what we're here for. You know, just so you know, we're not here to make any money. We're just here to support our community, which is mainly in northern Long Island, some in New York City, and now Westchester. Thank you for coming. I really appreciate your presence today too, because we do want to expand, and we really appreciate your support with signing your kids up for our varsity schools there. And I'm bet with some of you. I've come to a few of your events, and we will continue to do so. And if you ever need anything, suggest anything, please give it to Mr. Mani, who also has taken the role of going there on Friday nights, and he truly enjoys it. Our conversations usually start with how much he enjoys going there and meeting the parents and being involved. So thank you everyone for coming today. Without further ado, I'm going to ask Mrs. Haplani, and I gotta thank someone else. Before finding Ms. Danial to be our guest speaker today, because we're very impressed with your work. So good. So good. Did you pay your membership today? You better pay that membership. I'm giving you a lot of talk time here. So So Sogol and her family have been members, 1 year off, 1 year on, but today we got her here. And because of her, we had Mrs. Danial, because Wanda knows that they're close friends, and she contacted her, she asked her to be here. So she's here. Thank you, Sogol Joe, because we appreciate your support too. We're not gonna support you, we appreciate your support. So do me a favor, we're gonna be sitting there in a few minutes, and Mr. Manny is gonna come. But thank you for the introduction to Mrs. Daniel. من لونچون شما تشریف بیارید یه بایوی خانم دانیال رو به همه بگین. But thank you for being here and thank you for supporting IAS year after year.
Good afternoon, everybody. It is my great pleasure to welcome you to today's luncheon, where we gather to celebrate the achievements and contributions of our organization and community. Today, we have the distinct honor of hearing from a remarkable leader in the financial world, Kiana Danial, the founder and CEO of Invest Diva. Kiana's journey is truly inspiring. As a prominent financial educator, she has empowered countless individuals, especially women, to take control of their financial futures. Her innovative approach to investing combines her deep understanding of the markets with a commitment to education, enabling her followers to navigate the complexities of finance with confidence. Kiana's work has not only impacted the lives of many, but it has also fostered a stronger sense of community among aspiring investors. Through her engaging workshops, insightful webinars, and dynamic social media presence, she has built a platform for investing and encouraging active participation in the financial markets. Today, Kiana will share her insights on financial empowerment and investment strategies to accelerate your portfolio. Her unique perspective, shaped by her experiences and cultural background, promises to inspire and motivate us all. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming Kiana Danial to the stage.
Yes.
A few minutes, we can have this languages presentation.
Sure. Do you want to because I didn't give you.
Don't give away my secret.
Yes. No, I was actually gonna make it. Oh, hi everyone. My name is Kiana. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you Sogol for inviting me. She's like, hey, Kiana, can I ask you a favor? Or you can say no, and I'm like, what is it? And then she said it's for this organization because I don't do speeches anymore. And I'm like, yes, of course, because I have a daughter, she's 6 years old, and I really want her to get involved. I used to actually host Persian language classes for all the Nimunis in Connecticut. So today you have Connecticut in the house, by the way, but then COVID hit and we had to stop, and then I do want to get her to get back in touch in her Persian culture, so that is why I was excited to say yes to today. And you tell me when to start, but I honestly don't know what to talk about today, so I wanted to ask a little bit about what you want me to cover, because I do have a massive presentation prepared for you, but I'm not going to get into that. We have a very diverse crowd here today. We can talk about financial literacy, we can talk about how to create a portfolio for your kids, we can talk about how to manage your retirement, we can talk about cryptocurrency, we can talk about business and marketing and raising money, all the things that I've done in my 13 years in America to, get comfortable with this world. And my background is actually not in finance, my background is in a very typical Persian manner, electrical engineering, that I do not use in my own, in my career now. And so I'm curious, how many of you feel confident? Actually, no, I don't. That's a very bad question to ask Persians. How many of you? It's like, no, don't put me on. How many of you invest in stock market by yourself? By yourself. Very good. Well, of course, my sister and my nephew, but anybody else? Because imagine. How many of you have a money manager or a financial advisor? A couple. Okay, very interesting. I was expecting more. How many of you are investing in cryptocurrencies? Wow. Go Persians. Let's go. All right. How many of you have an investment portfolio that you manage for your kids? I'm curious. We have one over there. What should we cover? This is very diverse. All right, so I'm gonna wait for the presentation. I might actually just start with my presentation because, well,
I'll be up in a minute, but.
oh, okay, I'll ask more questions. How many of you, how many of you have your own business? What? Persians here? Okay, good. Okay, great. What? How many of you want to have your own business? Yes. I love the kids over there. Yes. The future isn't only in your own business. I'm sorry, my sister. No, you should go to college anyway, but it's very important, yes, to go to college and learn all the things. But at the end of the day, a lot of knowledge is earned after college. I do apologize. This is very Persian, I know. And my nephew here was asking me, because Sogol and I know each other from high school. We went to high school together in Iran. And my nephew was asking us right now, so what did you learn? Good question. But I love the value that the Persian community put on education, but I also do think that education has changed just by becoming a doctor or a lawyer.
Or an engineer.
Or engineer, for that matter. It doesn't, the American dream in that sense is that you do have to do more. You do have to do other things to ensure your family's future and to have a easy, comfortable retirement. And also I am aware that the Persian community is very, very affluent, so that's why I don't know really what to talk about here, because I know you probably know many of the things that I have figured out as well, but I'm also happy to share my journey and maybe inspire some of the youngs here and maybe diversify a little bit from your comfort zones, because diversification is key, especially with the current political situation going on. So that is one of the reasons, by the way, that I'm interested in crypto. So we have it on. Perfect. Oh, and I don't know what we were talking about. Okay, my critical improvement. Okay, that. Oh, I thought. All right. So I'm gonna wing it. I had my show notes, but that's fine. I know what this is about. So, what I have. Maybe we'll go. So the title of today is my proven triple compounding method to secure your financial future and accelerate your freedom. How many of you have heard the word compounding? It's the thing that Einstein called the eighth wonder of the world. And we're gonna get into it. And what I found out is that compounding by itself is not the answer anymore. And we'll bring this closer. So let's go to the next page and see what I had there. Yes, so I did come to America in 2011, fresh off the boat. And I was very eager to put my electrical engineering background into work. I did fall in love with finance. However, on the next page, you'll see that I did get fired from my job within a year. And then I tried to figure things out on my own. I went the financial, I tried to become a certified financial planner, and I did all the things, and until now, single-handedly, I have grown my portfolio to this amount, and I'm going to show you exactly what this is. This is definitely not day trading, so if you can go to the next page. Some people are like, okay, how do I know? Business Insider has been fact-checking me for years. On the next page, I have been featured on NASDAQ Billboard, and I've written multiple books. On the next page, you'll see, I believe, yes, I've written 7 books on finance, trading, cryptocurrency, and I'm currently working on my 8th book, my 8th book is called Triple Compounding for Dummies. And I'm super excited about it. It's going to be epic. And you probably have seen me on Fox Business, CNN. We don't discriminate. This is not political discussion, so I'll go everywhere, talk about finance. And this is my community. This is a community that I've grown over the past decade. We call ourselves Invest Divas. And if you're a guy, you will be an Invest Divo. And now with the whole triple compounding situation, we call ourselves triple compounders. So it's more gender neutral and more exciting. Yes, triple compounder community. And yes, so typically when people come to my world, and they might be lawyers, doctors, 9-to-5ers, professionals, really highly successful. And typically when I talk to them, just like me, everything that they had learned about money has been wrong. And I even heard it today as Alireza was speaking, and the principal mindset about money itself. When Alireza was like, we don't do this for the money, as if money is something nasty that you should be talking about. And that really is very hard to talk about, especially in the Persian culture too. Like, it is kind of taboo to talk about money, and when it's something that you feel like you shouldn't be talking about, or if you have it, you want to have it, and you do want to show off, and you do want to show off your brand names and the status, but you also are like, but I shouldn't talk about it, I shouldn't say how much I have, and that's why I boldly put my exact portfolio amount, which shocks people, like, why are you showing us how much money you have? I'm like, let me shock you a little bit, because money is just a tool for exchange. And money amplifies you. Money amplifies you if you're a good person. It amplifies all the good that you do in the world, just like this nonprofit. Again, they didn't pay me to say these things, but if you're a giving person, you will use the money to exchange for good and for change and for cultural improvements, and it amplifies who you are. And if you're a, not a very good person, that will amplify whoever you are. That's all money is. And yes, that's me in Iran. Oh my gosh. Next page. Proof that I was in Iran. My husband and my daughter can never find me in that picture. And I'm like, that is my sister's fault that my thingy, my Maya looks like that, because she used to do this to my hair. Can we go to the next picture? And then I went to Japan when I was 18 to study electrical engineering. I was the only girl in my class. I did not have fun, but I did stay there for 7 years. And on the next page, you'll see that, I even got on TV there. You can play it if you like, so people believe that it was actually.
With the sound. Show me.
So ask.
イラン出身のキアナ・ダニエルさん。
働く男の後ろ姿を見たこと
見ないんですけど、私は本当に
お金のためお金の
10年後にちょうどイランの大統領選挙がやってるんですけど、アメリカには今、精子バンクを通じて生まれた子供が100万人以上もいます。大学の皆さん、学生に甘すぎます。学生の皆さん、もっと勉強しましょう。
ない思わないで
ただ安心して生活できるっていうくらい
相当な決心がいると思うからむしろ
成功者より学ぶべきなんですよ。多分お金ないお金ないお金ない以上が私の提言でした。
はい、ありがとうございました。
Well, thank you. So in case you were wondering, in that show, we were talking about all kinds of things, from money to sperm bank, if you believe it or not, because Japan has a population problem. So all kinds of things. But at the end, where I pointed at people and people would laugh, that was when my passion about what money is actually had just started. I had just read Think and Grow Rich, and how many of you have read that book by Napoleon Hill? What? All right, you should read that book. It's an amazing book. And it basically, the premise of it is, if you think that money, if you're poor, basically, you're gonna think money is bad, and the more you think money is bad, then the poorer you're gonna be. And this was right at the recession of 2008, and everybody was losing their money. And they were trying to talk about why money isn't important. And I said, well, if you're saying that, it's probably because you don't have money, and you don't have money, and you don't have money, and everybody laughed. I'm like, yes, because that's what it is. So 2008 is when I became really curious about what the financial markets are. I already knew I didn't want to be an electrical engineer. I hated it. And at that show, they were talking about the recession, and they were talking about inflation. And I didn't know what inflation means. How many of you will know what inflation is? Everybody knows. And actually, we can go to the next page. One of the people on that show was talking about this, and he basically said, what inflation does is that it devalues your money. And if you have all of your money in the bank and it's just sitting and it's not growing, it's kind of like setting it on the bank. So with some dance here, make it beautiful.
I'm so sorry.
It's kind of like setting it on fire. And I'm like, what? We need to learn more about this, like electrical engineering, who? Why didn't they teach us about inflation at school? So in the next page, he kind of talked about, that's where I first learned about compounding, even though I didn't learn about it the way in English. So in Japanese it's called something else. I don't even remember what it is. But I do remember him talking about, if you compound your money, it's kind of like this avalanche of money that just puts together the money that you earn on top of your money, and then it goes down and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. I'm like, I don't want an avalanche of money. That sounds awesome. And that is when I started going down that rabbit hole. For the young kids here who want to learn about what compounding, hey kids, hello. All right, so on the show, this guy was trying to explain to us what compounding is, and I still didn't get it. And turns out, in Japan, at school, at 2nd or 4th grade, they read this book to their kids. And they have it now in English, and I've read it to my daughter, who's 6 years old too. It's amazing. It's called One Grain of Rice. And it's a story, if you go inside it, yes. It's a story of this girl who who was in India, and the Raja, who had all of this money, and he was hoarding his money, and they wouldn't give it to other people. And one day, not the recession happened in India, but what is a drought? Drought happened, and everybody needed some rice, but the Raja wouldn't give the rice. And one day, this girl, Ronnie, was walking behind 2 elephants that were carrying the rice of Raja. But one of the bags had a hole in it, and the rice kept falling down. And Ronnie, she started picking all the rice and putting it in her skirt, and walked behind the elephants. Raja's guards thought Ronnie's stealing the rice. And Ronnie's like, no, I'm not stealing the rice. I want to give it back to the Raja. So she goes back to the Raja and she's like, this is all of your rice. And Raja says, I want to reward you for your good deed. Ask me whatever you want. And Ronnie's like, I don't want anything, but if you may ask, if you're insisting, okay, I'll tell you what I want. I want 1 grain of rice today. And every day from today, for 30 days, I want you to give me double of the first grain of rice, of the rice that you gave me each day. So today you give me 1 rice, tomorrow you're gonna give me 2 grains of rice, the day after that, 2 times 2 is 4, the day after, you give me 4 times 2 is 8, and Roger's like, okay, this girl is dumb, but all right, if that is your wish, I'll give you that, I'll give you the rice. So this is the table. This is how compounding really works, and this is why Einstein calls it the 8th wonder of the world. Is that throughout, on the 10th day, my math doesn't stops mathing, so I'm glad that we have this here. But as you see here, I think, if you can, Manda, if you can tell me what so on the,
I'll tell you.
like on the 12th day,
We have 2,048.
2,048 grains of rice. That's like 2 bowls of rice, right? On the, let's fast forward to 15th day, that's
Having 16,384.
That's probably like, I don't know, like 1 kilo, 2 kilo, 2 kilo, I don't know, 12 kilo برنج. این من فارسی بگم بهتره. بعد از اونجا تا روز 19 چقدر میگیره؟
262,144.
این خیلی زیاده. This is a lot of rice. This is like, and this goes on top of what you got the day before. So that is the whole point of compounding. And then on the last day, this is like 500,000 grains of rice. This is all the rice this Raja had in all of their Ambari and everywhere else that they held the rice. So they literally completely went rice bankrupt. And this shows the power of compounding. And when I heard it this way, I was like, oh, okay, now I get it. So compounding is like you make some money and then you put it together with the previous amount of money that you had, and then you continue making it grow. And it's a basic, and that's it in Japanese, as you can see. So on the next page, where we talk about next page, this is, yeah, that's why Einstein called it, is credited, we don't know. He calls it compounding the 8th wonder of the world. And what I have been doing is not compounding once, not twice, but triple. So on the next page, I think I do talk about this, yes. So we call it making your money make babies and grandbabies, because I know Persian women and Persian grandparents in general are obsessed with us having kids. So instead of us having kids, I like making my money make kids. So hopefully my parents are gonna be excited about that. And so when I heard about this, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. I want to get into it. On the next page, you have to go fast here. I didn't know anything. Actually, no, don't go that fast. Okay. Sorry. I'm like, this is so cool, but I don't understand finance. Like, I literally at school, first of all, I didn't understand finance, but also in Iran, how many of you remember that essay and شایی که بعد می‌نوشتیم راجع به این بهتر است یا ثروت؟ و همیشه بعد میگفتیم البته ثروت نه این بهتره, right? If you said ثروت, like you will get 0, ولی اگه میگفتی این, like, okay, you're like, that's amazing, you're so noble, number beats me get it, right? So, and that is, again, that goes back to our mindset around money that is so wrong. But because of that mindset, I thought that I cannot do this on my own, so I did the next best thing. I found a money manager. So I went to this guy in Japan. They were from the Isle of Man. I gave them all of my money, and because the show was paying me some money. And from there, fast forward, I actually came to America. I got fired, and then on the next page you'll see that not only I found out that the money manager was mismanaging my money completely, the money was barely growing, but also they were basically charging me a commission for keeping me money. This is called assets under management. A lot of people go to a financial advisor and they're like, okay, you're gonna pay only like 1-2%. And like, hey, 1-2% is not that big of a deal. But again, this also compounds. But it doesn't compound in your favor, it compounds in their favor, and that's why we call it reverse compounding. So I was paying them money in reverse compounding, and they were mismanaging my money, putting my money in businesses that they have partnerships with, and so I was very, very upset about them. And on top of that, when I got fired and I needed some money to live, they said it's within, you have to pay either a 75% penalty because you're taking it out super early, or we can't give you your money back. And I'm like, this is basically a scam. And and as I learned more about this, and again, we didn't have that many people who have money managers, but this is a conversation that you do want to have with your money manager, because 96% of money managers underperform the market average, and then on top of that, they charge you to give you your own money back. You could like literally outperform them and not pay them, and be in charge of your money and just get it out whenever you want. and even borrow against it, which is one of the best ways that you can keep money. So I got fired, I was all upset, and yeah, so actually we already covered all of this. I'm like, what do you mean early? And he's like, well, remember that 500-page document that you signed when you got started? It was written somewhere. And I'm like, that is not cool. So I was super upset about this. And these are not, nobody was filming me back then, unfortunately. I had to take stock photo, but that's what I probably looked like. And then I got obsessed about learning all that there is, that all of these money managers knew. I studied for CFP and CMT and all the things until I became a triple compounder. And I just now lay on the beach on my money works for me. No, that's a lie, I still work. But I love it. I at least love what I do. And I've had the privilege to retire my husband. Again, my husband was a rocket scientist, like the actual pinnacle of what you can get in the Persian community. Actual rocket scientist, was getting burnt out, and now has become a YouTuber. And my Persian family does not approve of that, but it's really cool. You can go to the next page. I'm completely like, I was like, why, all the moms here, I can sense it, like, why did you bring Kiana here? We need our kids to go to school. But this is how banking versus money management versus triple compounding really works. Leaving your money in the bank is kind of like leaving your food in the fridge and then let it rot, kind of like that. Giving your money to the money manager is kind of like hiring an evil babysitter who keeps your kids' ransom. And triple compounding is like making your money make babies and grandbabies and great-grandbabies and for generations to come. So, yes, this is what I get a lot because I work with a lot of women. Thankfully, Persian women are very, very strong. Many women, especially in America, they're like, I don't need to know about this. My husband will take care of this. And even if they do want to take care of it, they think it's a man's job still to this day. And while these are some of our testimonials, I will spend some time on this other one because yes, men are good with math, but first of all, financial literacy has nothing to do with math, I'm proof. And also, women do live longer. Good thing or bad thing, but oftentimes I get these kind of phone calls way too often where like someone my age, literally 39 years old, this happened 2 months ago, is the mom of my daughter's friend, 39 years old. Her husband got killed, and she had no idea where anything was. And so she called me, and she's like, what do I do? And so it is very heartbreaking to have these conversations after these situations have already happened. And this is why this is my passion to help people. We do get a lot of men, but we also really want to help women. So bring your sisters, bring your daughters, bring your aunts and all the women, because it is a myth. And you need to be in charge of your finances. You need to know where everything is. And you don't want to do it when it's already too late. I'm not meaning to scaring you. My sister is like, now her hair is going gray. You're good, you're fine, as we speak. But it'll just give you a better peace of mind knowing where it is. Even if you know how to invest, if you know where to invest already before tragedy has happened, it's just better for everybody. So, and these are our success stories. We have so many women. Misty, she came in when it was too late. She 10x her investment, 18 months. You can just go through. She's one of my first students, actually. She came in, she was just getting a divorce. She was getting a divorce, and she came in, figured everything out. And so in my education courses, and I think we're already at 40 minutes, I don't know how long I've been talking, I go through all of these secrets on how to do this without taking too much risk. Because again, we're not talking about day trading. We're not talking about the things that people go in and lose all of their money. we're talking about bare minimum first, how to manage your money in a way that it at least keeps up with inflation. Inflation is not gonna go anywhere, we know that. And then from there, how to get even more experience, how to fire your money manager. So one of our wins for my over 100,000 students is I fired my money manager. So we celebrate that. I'm gonna send them a t-shirt. Because again, nothing against money managers. You can have your money manager, but if you understand what they need to be doing, and you might have an amazing money manager that have a great relationship with them, but when you understand what to talk to them about, they're gonna invest in better things for you. Because they might just tell you, hey, don't invest in crypto because, and they don't know your risk tolerance. Like, you need to understand these things for yourself so that you can have a more educated conversation with your money manager if you want to keep them. And you don't have to be mathless. And I also, I'm not gonna go into that.
Okay.
Yes, but you can go back and I'm gonna
Just
finish
stay there?
Yes.
Okay.
So, and then I talk about how to do this even if you're super busy. So how many of you are so busy and you're like, I cannot do one more thing in my life. I have kids and I have all the things. So I manage my portfolio that I showed you at the beginning. It's $15 million. I manage it only 1 hour per month. And in fact, that is how I prefer. I do not listen to the news. I have asked my dad not to listen to the news. He's addicted. He's a lost cause, but I don't listen to the news. And it's actually better because then you don't invest based on hype or FOMO. My books become bestsellers every time market is at all-time highs. So cryptocurrency, every time cryptocurrency is like at all-time high, my book is going off the shelf. While the best time to invest was actually when Bitcoin was at $3,000 last year. Nobody bought. Everybody was like, this is a scam. And then it goes up to 100K and everybody's like, okay, now tell me about it. Okay, you're too late. Let's go find something else. Again, no, you're not too late, but if you're investing just because you heard it, somebody talk about it, that is not an investment strategy. An investment strategy that is going to give you a peace of mind without taking too much risk is one that is consistent, is one that you create for your own unique situation, because again, everybody is different, and the one that is going to be suitable for your unique financial goals. So I'm going to end it here, and I'm going to open for questions if there are any, and I hope you enjoyed my story.
First of all, thank you for coming, but I have a question. Can you explain for me, and I'm sure other people have a question, what is the compounding? And then the second, and then the third? Just
All right.
without teaching us your whole course.
Of course, let's go, let's go, because okay, let's go.
Is it like you buy, can you like take us through the stock?
Yes, I have that over there, so let me show you what it's not.
Tell me what to stop.
So here, I just want to reassure you, I didn't go into the story first, I want to reassure you this is not day trading. All the pictures that you just saw, I thought back in the day that it is day trading, and I lost all of my money after years of making a lot of money, and I learned the hard way that that is not the consistent way. If you have another job, unless you're a professional day trader, and I'm not a professional day trader, I don't want to be a professional day trader. If it's not your job, then it's not the thing that you want to do. So these are the differences between day trading, investing, and compounding. And the rates, so now if you go to the next page, we talk about the rate, I believe. So compounding is basically when you, yes, okay, here's what we're gonna talk about. Compounding is, and I have different explanations for it. As I'm writing the book right now, I've realized there are so many things you can do to triple compound, and I'm gonna give you exactly what I mean. So compounding itself, the old school way, where they say just put your money in an S&P 500 or put it in blue or put it in something and it's gonna grow year after year. 8 to 10%, sometimes 8 to 12% average. So that is the basic sort of compounding, even if you buy the best stock. So I started investing in NVIDIA, by the way. how many of you have heard of NVIDIA? Everybody's so excited about NVIDIA, yes. Not many?
Are you still excited about it?
Yes.
I'm really, everything I touch goes down, so I'm sorry.
You see, that's bad mindset, that mindset, get out of it. No, everything you touch
I'm not
turns into
gonna look at it
gold.
for 10 years.
Exactly, that's how you want to go, because what people forget about this, NVIDIA in 2022 was crashing. And I talked about it again, and everybody laughed. And even if you had purchased it at 2022, now you'd be happy. So we'll talk about that. But this is basic compounding. All of these things is you put your money in an asset. It can be real estate. It can be anything else. But it's just one. So I define triple compounding in multiple ways. One is generate, automate, accelerate. So the generation part is where I bring methods to generate more income without taking too much risk. So when you put your money in a stock that appreciates, or in Bitcoin for the hopes of it to go to $1 million, or NVIDIA, you want it to go to whatever, or you want to find the next best thing that is the new NVIDIA, that is called capital gains. That is one kind of compounding. Another way is putting your money in an asset that actually pays you an income. So there are several ways to go about this. We have, when interest rates were high yield savings accounts were paying up to what? Some shady ones, like 8%. It was crazy. Now it's about 3.5%, even American Express or other places. So you're now bringing money in, so your money is generating more money, and then most people stop there. Then you want to, again, take that money and compound it elsewhere. You might be generating income from your rentals, your real estate. You might be generating income from your business. You might be generating income from your work. So, again, Iranians are a lot more savvy, but many Americans, they make all of this money, they get all the bonuses, and then they fall for something called lifestyle inflation, which whatever money they make, whatever appreciation they get, whatever bonus they get, they instantly go and buy something. So they're still net zero.
Yeah, why not there?
I'm sorry, the ladies in the house, but yes, a Chanel bag is not an investment.
But it's pretty.
It is pretty, and I own one, but I own one, so this is how I go about it. This is a savvy way to purchase a Chanel bag.
That's your next bestseller.
Is that you generate money, you put it into work, you compound it, and the best way, the third one, I call it automation, which is like, it's called like kind of like paying taxes. Like you forget about it. It's like, okay. In fact, we're gonna actually play a game. I think all the husbands here are gonna be very excited about this game today. So this is, it's a win-win, because I love my Chanel bag. All right, so it's a win-win. So let's play this game. The game is that every money that you make, you need to commit to a percentage of it automatically go into your investment account. So if you make $50 per month or $5 million per month, this percentage is like taxes. You don't even think about it, because if you don't see it, you're not going to miss it. This goes directly to your investment portfolio. This is like the base. If you have this, and I want this to be a high, like as much as you can, if it's 20%, 25%, 30%, right? So many people are like, okay, I'm gonna take that and put it in my emergency fund. I say, after your emergency, what are you gonna do next? This is what you wanna do. And even for your kids, this is a great way to start teaching them. Adriel, are you listening? So as you start learning, as you start earning money, even if it's your pocket money, commit to putting 30% of it into your investment account. So this is number one. And then this investment account grows. And then there are some savvy things that I'm not going to talk about, I might talk about, but there are things that you can do. You can borrow against your portfolio. So debt is an income. if you use it correctly. And in fact, it's my favorite kind of income because if you borrow against your portfolio, then your money is still growing. And this is when is a good time to go into debt, by the way. So there's good debt and bad debt. How do we know what's a good debt, what's bad debt? Anytime you can use the bank's money cheaper than your own money, it's good debt. So if your bank is giving you money at 4%, but your money is growing at 8%, 8 minus 4 is 4. You're ahead another 4%. So I would go and borrow against my portfolio, buy that Chanel bag while my money is still working for me, and then go and continue generating elsewhere. So this is where you want to have multiple revenue streams. Obviously, the more revenue streams that you bring in and you're committing to growing and automating it, the faster it grows. So that's just a gist of it. I hope that answered your
I
question.
know, but I'm sorry, because I want to understand it. So the first compounding is, each of those compounding or triple compounding is, each of it is a different asset? Is that my understanding, or am I still wrong?
Yes. So I don't have it here. You're getting way ahead. So we'll get to the way ahead. I love it. I love this question.
I
So
want to
no.
understand it.
So what I actually mean by this, and it gets a little bit, stop me if you don't want it. So there are 3 assets. You're absolutely right. There are 3 categories that you're going to invest in, and then you're going to compound. Because compounding means putting it together. So you invest it here, you make some money, and you don't spend it. You're going to put it together, you're going to compound it, and on top of that, you're going to make more money. And on top of that, you're going to make more money. So there are 3 categories that I personally invested in, and the first one might sound cheesy, but these are the 3 categories. The first one is the most important investment of your life. Is the ultimate value asset, is the ultimate Bitcoin, is the ultimate NVIDIA, is the ultimate real estate
So it's
location.
not the Chanel.
It's not Chanel.
Good.
It is the thing, I'm gonna give you some hints, let's see if anybody gets it. It's the thing that no matter where you go, it's gonna be there. Even if you lose your house in LA wildfires, you're not gonna be upset because you still are gonna have this asset. It's yourself, yes, that's what I'm gonna do. Yes, it is yourself. I know I was bashing education a little bit before, but investing in yourself has taken a different meaning, but it is the first asset. So I never stopped learning. And even though I found out that electrical engineering was not for me, I kept learning. I learned marketing, I learned sales. Right now, the assets that you want to invest in yourself are the things that are for the next generation, is AI. Any skill that helps you make more money, helps you generate, that's the first compounding. The second compounding is your business. So if you have a 9-to-5 job, it's great. And if you don't want to quit it, that's fine too, but at least look at it as your own business. I don't have any employees, even though 15 people work for me. All of them have their own businesses. And because I teach this, it's kind of weird if I employ them, so I can't. Because it is very important to have your own business. Even if you have a 9-to-5 job, it's very important to at least have a side hustle that you're in charge. Because again, in today's society, having a 9-to-5 job is not gonna cut it. And that's why today I asked you, do you want me to talk about marketing? Because the other compounding is actually sales and marketing. And it is something that you actually have control over, because you don't have control over the stock market. You only have control over yourself and your business. And I know that if all of my money in my portfolio is gonna go down to 0, I know I have the skills to rebuild it again, probably faster than before. So it gets a little bit more self-development-y, but I'm happy to talk about it, but you're absolutely right. So I invest in myself, learn a skill that's gonna make me more money. I apply that skill into my business, I make more money, and then I add a continuity to it. So every business that you have, kind of like this nonprofit here that you're forcing course of gold to pay you. That's good, that's great. So it's like you want it to be continuity, right? So you want it to be continuity. And but you want to delight them, and you did a very good job at that. And it's like, how can I make it more of a continuity so I don't have to think about it, so it compounds on its own. So having like a subscription based, something that renews, that is not a one and done, is great because it compounds. So all of your subscriptions that you're paying to Netflix, like these are great models. Like, oh my gosh, Apple, the apps, they take a percentage of every business on their apps. Like amazing, amazing business models. So any continuity business that you can come up with that compounds, that's the second type of compounding. And then you take that money, you have already committed to a percentage of that, they're gonna put it into your investment portfolio, and boom, the third type of compounding. Got it?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I ask you just a very basic question?
Yes.
How do you know what to invest in? Like a simple, like what made you say NVIDIA is a good, investment?
Yes.
How do you
All right.
educate?
That is a whole presentation. Let's go. Let's teach you. Do we have time? What time is it?
We were out of time, 20 minutes.
Oh my gosh!
Started
I knew I should have.
Tell me where to go.
We'll get into it. I'm gonna show you exactly what I do. Just go, 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 go,
Cliff
go,
notes
go. Oh, that's it. All right.
This one?
Yes. So actually, I'm gonna go a little bit further, so we get all of it out. Go, 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 go.
Going back,
Testimonials. These are all the people who paid
forward
over
or
money.
back?
Go forward. Go forward.
Let's go back.
Yes. This is risk tolerance, which is super important. I'm not gonna get into that. I'm just gonna answer your question. Stop reverse compounding. This is one of my students who got $1 million portfolio. Intentional, go, go, go. Fundamental, asset picking. That's the question. All right. So I create my investment strategies. Now we're only talking about external investments, I'll call them. So there are triple compounding is three types of compounding: investing in yourself, investing in your business, and investing in external, in somebody else's business, which is the stock market, private equity, real estate, whatever, right? So when it comes to external investing, we call it fundamental asset picking, there are three things that I do. And when you're just getting started, really investing in somebody else's business comes down to your confidence in that business. And I heard it from my Uber driver, I heard it from Kiana Danial, I heard it on, I don't know, CNBC. That is not going to give you lasting confidence. So if I say I like NVIDIA, if you were one of our Invest Divas, you're like, okay, Kiana likes NVIDIA, but do I like NVIDIA? And I love the fact that you actually asked me that question, because you're like, should I trust this person? And no, you absolutely should not. The only reason I actually invested in NVIDIA, and I wouldn't have invested in NVIDIA if it wasn't for my husband, who is a gamer. So this is how I actually came about NVIDIA in 2016. NVIDIA and AMD, they were like a penny. And I didn't know about them, but my husband, who loves gaming, kept buying their chips. Like, they're expensive. I didn't have that much money. And I'm like, dude, what are these? And he explained to me how important NVIDIA and AMD are for gamers. And I'm like, who cares about gamers? Well, so we had all of this conversation. And I found out that NVIDIA has done amazing branding and has very, very strong elements. That is why I chose NVIDIA when I did. Now, our people, the best place to start is really your own credit card statement. So if you love Chanel, yeah, so if you want to turn your shopping addiction into something profitable that will pay for your shopping addiction, go to your credit card statement and look at all the companies that you're already investing with and you're raving fans of, and they have a continuity, and you're never going to go for the competition.
It's like Uber.
There you go. And then you want to think out of the box. Okay, Uber is here. Like, Uber is a great example because I was kind of losing my faith in Uber because when you go to LA, they have this other company that is like self-driving, and I'm like, I don't know. And then I went to London 2 weeks ago, and Uber has taken over. They have like Uber boats and Uber, like everything is Uber. Like they have a contract with the the government, I didn't know that. I actually sold my Uber stocks because I was like, I don't think Uber is going to be around. Then I went to London, I'm like, oh wow, they're actually outside the US, they're investing. So everything that I look at, everywhere I go, I'm looking for investment opportunities, just from a personal experience. And this is not me. This is the Warren Buffett approved method.
That's a great tip.
Yeah. So what are the companies that you think in the next 3 to 5 years are going to still be around, you're going to still be shopping from them, and you're going to still be raving fans? And I can give you some categories. So if we say search engine, you want to go with the category king. What is the category king of search engine? What brand name comes to your mind? Google, boom. If I say AI, what category comes to your mind? ChatGPT, boom. But ChatGPT is not publicly traded in the stock market. What are you going to do? You're going to invest in their partners or companies that are publicly traded that are investing in this private company, i.e. Microsoft, Apple.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think I don't know if it's a question or if I'm just kind of adding, but like one of the things that I'm always intimidated by is one, where to start, and two, like how much is too little, or like it's always figuring out how much to put in and where to start, because I know, right, like the mentality should be nothing is too little, like, right?
$50 per month.
Anything, and then just start it.
Yep. So $50 per month after your emergency fund, and the percentage comes back to your risk tolerance. So that is what I didn't show here, because your investment strategy and how much you put in is case by case. I don't know your situation. So that is why we spend so much time in calculating exactly where you are financially. And the majority of people, they think they have low risk tolerance because they're just like, oh, I have a low risk tolerance. You're thinking about your willingness to take a risk. So yes, when I became a mom, suddenly I didn't want to take any more risk. So my willingness to take a risk went low. But risk tolerance has 3 components. It's not just your willingness to take a risk. The second one is your ability to take a risk. And again, depending on your willingness to take a risk, you either underestimate or overestimate your ability to take a risk. Many people think they are worse off, and then they go and calculate, and they're like, oh my gosh, I was positively surprised. My net worth is actually really good. And then some people are like, oh my gosh, I'm great, blah, 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 blah. And then they go and calculate, and they're like broke, right? So you need to calculate that. And then the third component is your confidence in the asset that you're investing in. So all 3 are going to determine how much you start with, and you're going to come into that percentage that we talked about.
I have a question.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us today. My question is, how do you consider yourself a wealth manager, or you're definitely not a money manager because you really don't like them the way at least you mentioned that. So do you consider yourself wealth management, or the author, or somebody who we can read and learn from?
Yeah. Who do I consider?
Not yourself.
Oh, what do I consider myself? I am a money manager. I'm only my own money manager.
Oh, for your own?
I don't manage anybody else's money
I see.
besides.
You're fine. So you're not really money manager.
No, because I really do believe that nobody cares about your money more than you do. I teach you how to become your own money
I see.
manager.
Thank you.
So I'm a coach, I think. I'm a
Yes.
very highly paid teacher.
That's
That's what I am.
Understood. Thank you.
You're welcome. I think there was another question. Yes.
How do you manage your financial advisor before getting to the stage of firing the person?
How do you manage them? So this is what typically happens to our students, especially our high net worth students. They come in, they join my course, and they get excited. They go talk to their financial advisor. The financial advisor is like, so you took a little course, and now you want to fire me, and you think you know better than me, and they start intimidating them. That's literally what happens. And then they're like, oh my gosh, yeah, I like him as a person, so I'm not going to fire them. So what typically happens is that our clients, not clients, my students, typically, they start their own additional investment portfolio. They start investing, they see the results that I just showed you. They get to like $500,000, $1 million, like 18 months is typically the timeline. Now they have the confidence So then depending on their risk tolerance again and their age, and also whether or not they can actually get their money out of that money manager without having to pay penalty, because sometimes they can't. And I'm like, no, just leave it there then. We calculate, it's like, okay, which one is going to be more profitable for you? Sometimes they just leave it there, and then they are managing their own portfolio, and the money manager is managing that one. They're frustrated because they're doing better than the money manager, but there's nothing that can be done. But that is when you've already gained enough confidence in yourself to be able to manage it. And like majority of my students are like stay-at-home moms, postpartum parents who just gave birth and are like, what am I gonna do? And if they can learn it, then so can you.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.
I have another question that maybe, I don't know, I'm not so educated to know like about. When you want to use your money that you've invested and you want to live off of it, like how do you know how much to take? Like what would be a safe advice for, okay, look at my portfolio after 1 year, now I want to use some of it for living or whatever, you know, that you need. How do you know what is the right amount to?
Right. So it depends on your age. On your and our age group, I would recommend that you don't.
Okay.
I recommend that you use all of your resources and continue compounding, because this is calculated based on something called the rule of 4%. So basically what that means is that inflation, again, with the ups and downs, so right now is crazy and insane, but when it goes back down, it averages out over 100 years to 4%. So the rule of 4% says, basically this is how you calculate it. You're going to calculate all of your essential expenses every year. So to pay your rent, to pay your mortgage, pay your kids, not pay your kids, pay for their schools, right? Eat, I don't know, go to vacation. So you're gonna calculate what is your essential annual expenses to live. And let's say, for the sake of conversation, this is just $100,000 per year. And let's say you want to retire with $100,000 income off of your investment account. So you're going to calculate how much should I have in my investment portfolio to be able to extract out of this account while allowing me to also grow and keep up with inflation. So this is how you do it. You take that $100,000 per year, divide it by 0.04%. This is the extent of the math that I'm going to talk about today. But and that gives you $2.5 million. That means that if you have $2.5 million in your portfolio, then even if you take out $100,000 out of it per year, you are still keeping up with inflation. Your portfolio is going to grow at 8% more than what you're taking out, and you can live off of it for the years to come. So that is called your financial freedom number, by the way. And when you fall for lifestyle inflation, it messes it up, because my financial freedom number was $2.5 million. Then we bought this crazy house, and now our mortgage is like skyrocketed. So now my financial freedom number, I have to work a little bit more to get there. So anyways, I hope that answers your question. Yeah?
Thank you. I'm gonna do a handshake. Take a picture of her. She's not the money manager. We're gonna have a conversation.
3, 2, 1.